Of your sirens.
What is up, Top Shot Nation? Looks like we're live. Can y'all hear us?
Let's go.
We are live. I'm here with Austin Kent, our curation lead. My name is Jacob. We're here to talk some basketball. It was an awesome first half. Miami, Denver, Austin. We're here at Game 4. How's it feeling?
Oh, the game's been fun to watch. You know, this whole series has just been so interesting with how different these two teams are. Like, on one hand, you got this Nuggets juggernaut that just looks so like unstoppable and imposing, and then you got this scrappy Miami team. And just to see the fact that they've, these games have been, relatively close. Like, you can't really ask for much more than that. And then to have another great game today is just it's just really fun to watch. What have you been noticing from the first half?
Well, I think before we dive into the first half a little bit, let's acknowledge we've got some packs live in the app. Get yourselves over to the app, get yourself a pack. Rip It comes with a guaranteed Nuggets parallel, a guaranteed Heat parallel, $6, 4 total moments. You got a spotlight series in there as well. Good value, good opportunity to enjoy some pack ripping while the NBA Finals are on. What could be better than that? Austin, my big observation of the first half is Caleb Martin's back. I know that the Heat are down, but that killer crossover he had on MPJ, he was brimming with confidence in the conference finals. He lost a little bit of that. He looks pretty good right now. Now, that would be the good thing going for Miami. On the flip side, Aaron Gordon with arguably the best quarter of Aaron Gordon basketball in his career. That second quarter, I think he went 5 for 5 from the field with 13 points, something like that. Pretty dominant.
Yeah, he's been great. All of Game 3, pretty much the story of Game 3 was kind of like a 2-on-2 basically, with like Bam and Jimmy versus Jokic and Jamal Murray, and obviously we know how that one ended. So for Miami's not going to win that if that's going to be the case for the rest of the series. So getting contributions from those guys like Caleb Martin is just so important for them. And what I loved, for Miami, I thought Miami got off to a really kind of sluggish, sloppy start. It was really kind of a sloppy first quarter, but once those reserves came in at like the 4-minute or the 2-minute mark, it really kind of changed the face of the energy, and in a home game, that's so important. Started with a nice little Cody Zeller post up there, but even he banked it in. Kyle Lowry banked it in, but that's a pretty influential bank 3. And I think it really kind of, it gave the Heat that jumpstart that they need. And so like TLDR, while the Nuggets are a team that can coast by if it's really just their two guys, Miami's not that team. So getting that sort of support unit firing early is just so important.
Now, we noticed Nikola Jokic maybe stepped on a foot there, came up a little hobbled, seemed to kind of work himself back through the pain. But that will be something to watch in the second half. Who is kind of the guy, be it on Miami, be it on Denver, that you think is going to be a big X factor to close out this game?
I mean, I think there's a lot of eyeballs on Michael Porter Jr. And the struggles that he's had so far. He hasn't looked great at all, this whole series. And even in this game, especially, like he's missing bunnies. You can tell he's getting frustrated. I think he like kind of slammed the ball down at the last one, in the second half of the second quarter. And I think the Nuggets are going to try to get him going. Like they kind of ran a play for him out of an inbound, and I think it's his only field goal of the game. He's one of those guys that if he can he doesn't have to, tear the roof off the building. He just has to become his usual self. And if he does, that's just so huge for Denver, because they're not going to get, like Aaron Gordon was just absolutely incredible in the second quarter. And I don't think you can realistically expect that going forward. So whether Michael Porter Jr. can really flip that switch, to me, is the biggest, like, if it happens, it's almost like game over, just because that inevitable Nuggets duo is just so good. What about you?
Yeah, I think that for the sake of this finals, I almost look at MPJ as maybe the 5th most valuable Nugget. And that's no disrespect to MPJ, but with how good Jokic, Murray have been, obviously, then Aaron Gordon's really stepped up and playing a vital role on defense. And what KCP did in that first quarter, like, people forget just how experienced the guy is. He has a ring under his belt. He kind of fits the perfect role for this team. And what I couldn't help but notice is there was a bunch of action on the right side of the court where KCP standing on the weak side corner, just waiting for the catch and shoot, because between Jokic or Murray or Gordon, it's going to make its way over to him. But you just have a 4-man action of Jokic and Murray. They could do their 2-man game. Then you have MPJ, who the play you're mentioning where he slammed the ball down in frustration, he is the same exact height without shoes on as DeAndre Jordan. Think about that. They've done combines for years. He is a legit 6'10" guy without shoes on, 7-footer with shoes on. He's doing Euro steps. He's got a great touch around the hoop, a little jelly. And then you got Aaron Gordon, who is probably their best off-ball cutter, best guy that can complement Jokic's best skill set. So it's just a really hard team to defend. I think Miami's doing a valiant job. But to answer your question, I think KCP on the Denver side, and I think Kyle Lowry on the Miami side. We saw him hit that bank in transition. That was fun. But generally speaking, they're going to need a signature, either Kyle Lowry or Kevin Love game in this series for them to kind of get back into it. And when the banks open on late Friday, that's when I feel like Kyle Lowry might have a little bit of momentum going into the second half.
Yeah, Lowry's such an interesting player in the playoffs. Obviously, watched a lot of Kyle Lowry over his Raptors tenure in the playoffs, and you never know what you're going to get. And sometimes you get a hero, right? It just sometimes happens. Doesn't really happen consistently, but if it does, that's just such a great sign. This Nuggets team is just this inevitable force. It kind of feels like the team that's trapped. The Miami Heat are trapped in this series with the Denver Nuggets, and it feels like you're kind of trapped in a room that's just like slowly filling up with water. You just know that things are going to go bad eventually, you know? So for Miami to be able to stay afloat and stay alive in this series, they really got to be pulling out this like magic, these like streaks, these runs. They've been so dependent on them in the first few games. And, you know, it'll be very obviously like critical, you know, second half for them. At least they're at home. They can get that energy behind them and, you know, it's doable, but they need those contributions from those guys, whether it's Lowry. I loved seeing Love get going real early. I think he hit the first bucket for Miami with that 3. Sure. And didn't see, you know, a ton since for him.
Yeah, noticing Ryan in chat saying Miami needs a hero. That's an interesting thought. I've kind of gone through this entire postseason feeling a little bit like there's a Bill Simmons, Patrick Ewing theory around Tyler Hero and the opportunity that Gabe Vincent's been given, the opportunity Duncan Robinson's been given, maybe even more specifically than the opportunity, the leeway to make mistakes, right? With how deep Miami was all regular season, because it's not just Hero, right? It was also Victor Oladipo. When you have that many guys in the rotation in the mix, Duncan Robinson, as a guy as streaky as he is, he can't come in and make a mistake. He's going to get yanked. But now that they literally don't have that depth on the bench, he's playing with a lot more confidence, and we're actually seeing that really work out for them. So it's an interesting thought process. Would they be better off with Tyler Hero? We'll go first take style. Austin, does Miami need Tyler Hero in the series?
Here's what I will say. First of all, I didn't know we were allowed to talk about the Ewing theory with the Knicks fans. So I'm happy that you said it, not me, because I think, you know, it's just the elephant in the room. Would Miami be better off with introducing him in game 1? As was like kind of teased, like, is he coming back game 1? Is he coming back game 2? I don't think that really would have worked well for anybody. It's hard to say that a player that's as, you know, dynamic as he is, 20-point scorer, like he's a 20-point scorer for a reason. But man, I look at just the depth on this Heat team, and so much of their success is attributed to those guys, to Max Strus, to Caleb Martin, to all these guys that have just had these incredible runs. You know, is Miami Heat with Tyler Hero in full swing? Are they a second round team? Like, are they the Cinderella magical team? I don't know that they are. And that's not to say, you know, Tyler Hero is not a fixture of this team heading forward. I think he very much is. I love like his just makeup. He's just such a player, but I have had that thought that I don't know that Miami would necessarily go this deep with him in that spot. And, you know, we're in game 4 now. Like, I think we can maybe just say goodbye to any chance that he is going to come come back. And why would you bring him back? Like if he was perfectly healthy, and let's say he was perfectly in game shape, would you add him into the mix in game 5? Maybe you do if you're trailing in the series, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think at 3-1 it makes it a much easier thing to justify. But yeah, I don't think that their issue right now is necessarily the offense. Yeah, they're not lighting up the scoreboard, but they just, what I think is the real issue is they're not getting out in transition. I noticed who made the call? Martin. This was Digino Assets. He hasn't been playing at the level of the conference finals. Well, they haven't been able to get on transition to the degree that they were during the conference finals. And obviously, Denver as an offensive juggernaut is a little bit different than, say, Boston with kind of where they were all conference finals long. So I think that it's hard to say that they'd be worse off with a guy as talented as Tyler Hero, but I don't think that he's the missing ingredient here. In fact, I'd almost argue that Victor Oladipo is the guy they miss a little more in this series, at least.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun to see. I'm just so appreciative of the run that they've been on and what we've been able to see out of them. And, for the sake of competitive basketball, I want to see Miami pull this one out. Let's go into the weekend 2-2, but it's tough. My brain and my heart don't necessarily agree on that one.
So I think that's a nice segue into, I think we talked about it a little bit earlier today. Having watched the first half, who wins game 4 right now? Like who are you liking based on what you've seen so far?
I think the Nuggets will pull it off, and then be up 3-1 going into Denver.
And you think it goes 5 or you think it goes 6?
I think it goes 5. Yeah, I'm still feeling the 5, though. Miami makes it a lot tougher than I thought it would be at the beginning of the series.
So I'm looking at the first half stats. Miami shot 53%, but only 33% from deep. Denver shot 46%, but shot 50% from deep. I think, given it's a 4-point game, these are the types of games, as a Knicks fan, I watched Miami. When they keep it close, they are able to kind of hang in all game. I'm going to go Miami wins tonight. I think the series is going 6, and Denver's going to end up winning in game 6 back in Miami. But this is going to be a fun one. As far as the X factor for the series, obviously we've got our finals legendary drop coming up. There have been some great moments so far. Is there anyone so far that you've seen that maybe wasn't originally in your line of sight for maybe being in this set, and as of today, if the series were to end today, give them serious consideration?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about Christian Braun ever since the rookie revelation drop. He was sort of the 21st guy in a 20 set, in a 20 player set. And to see, he's been great all year as this sort of rotation piece for a contending team, right? That's just impressive no matter what. But to see the performance that he had in game 3 was just incredible. Jokic publicly crediting him as the reason that they won that game. I've been watching him. He's been very quiet, so far today. He was quiet, in a bit of last series. But just to get it, anytime you can see a young guy step up like that, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's always just so appreciated. Everybody loves that narrative of a rookie, stepping up when the lights are the brightest.
Well, Austin, really appreciate you and joining us late on a Friday to talk basketball. Chat, we appreciate you sticking around, but the real action's live on the screen. I'm on YouTube TV, so I've got a good 30-second delay here, but it's back. Enjoy the game, y'all. We'll do a giveaway next time we do one of these. We're sorry we didn't get to it this time. There was just too much to break down in the first half. Looking forward to it. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. And Austin's got Denver. I got Miami. We'll see. I don't feel great about my pick already, but I'm excited to see this series go as long as possible.
Enjoy it. This is what we wait all year for. Just enjoy the NBA Finals while we got them. It's going to be a long off season.
All right. Take care, y'all. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.